Or red light. Or green light. Red light.
Red light.
light.
Why she got such long hair?
I don't know.
Nope, it still has to be moving. You're gonna die right here.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm dead.
You're... Yeah,
Well,
I was gonna say,
anyway.
I'm pretty sure it has to be moving in a rhythm.
So I'm going into this fairly blind. I've made a point in the past to talk about the Try Guys and how I wasn't really drawn in by their personalities or anything like that. I respect what they do. You know, they exist and they have their slice of the internet that they have made their own, and I'm not really one to say anything about it. But that being said, sorry, this is usually the time where I'm starting to wind down and go to bed. But unfortunately, I think I've stated in a previous video, I have to get some videos recorded to meet the quota, so that's what you see me doing here. And yeah, so I'm doing the film theory on on the Try Guys drama. According to this, they missed the point. And I would say, yeah, film theory. I wonder if Matt's just trying to take on the drama of the situation that's at hand. I don't know why he's doing this, but I guess we're gonna see. I'm a little bit in the dark of like the full drama around the Try Guys, but I do know that one of them did something very, very naughty, and hopefully Matt will go into finer details about it. So I guess let's go ahead and get into it. This is Film Theory. They missed the point. Try Guys drama. Here we go.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to my couch, where I gotta be honest, I did not want to make this episode. No joke. I was actively looking for excuses not to do this episode, and yet each time I shelved it. Ever since the Try Guys drama first started, my feed has just been full of entertainment news media making like the worst takes possible about this situation. Saying stuff that wasn't just cringe, wasn't just facepalm worthy, but was just actively making me and everyone else on the team mad because of how ignorant and irresponsible it was. So, as a YouTuber and as a business owner, it felt like I had to sit down on the couch and set the record straight to call out a lot of the problems that they're having as it relates to this wider issue. So consider this my open letter to mainstream media friends. Strap in, because Film Theory, it's getting its own first ever serious couch time episode. I'm supposed to stay over on Game Theory. So if you've ever existed on the internet, or you're even not on the internet, you're probably familiar with the Try Guys at this point. Keith, Zach, Eugene, and Ned. The four of them got their start on BuzzFeed during its heyday, becoming one of, if not the first format on the site with a recurring cast of popular, relatable characters. And their show was simple but effective. The guys try things. No clickbait there, it is all there in the name. They put themselves out of their comfort zones to wear women's high heels, or wear women's Halloween costumes, or wear women's underwear. You know what, come to think of it, there was a lot of wearing women's sexy things in the early days.
Yeah, of the videos that I saw early on, that was stuff I was just like, oh, okay. That's interesting. Moving on.
There was also plenty of other videos out there, like watching them learn to dance ballet, or race dune buggies, or play Rocket League. Admittedly, not all of them were bangers. But still, it was fun to watch these guys, these fish out of water experiences, as these complete noobs were learning all about the weird, wacky, interesting, dangerous things in the world around them. Eventually, they decided to break off from BuzzFeed because, let's be honest, everyone made that decision.
The whole why I left BuzzFeed thing needs to be its own channel. The channel is literally called Why I Left BuzzFeed.
And they decided to create their own production company, Second Try.
Collectively, we decided it was just time to try something else, and that involves this new production company out of Ned's old house.
Oh, weird. weird.
Without a corporate overlord, suddenly they were free to make and do whatever they wanted with their brand.
We can now be truly, unabashedly, wholly ourselves.
There's no holding back because it's ours. We own that light.
And you know what? That's exactly what happened. They took their brand and they made it into everything that they wanted it to be. Live shows, merch, podcasts, spin-off shows, books, documentaries, interviews with important people like Dr. Fauci. They even got themselves a show on Food Network, which then brings us to recent times and the drama. About a month ago, the Try Guys had to fire one of their founding members, Ned, the one with the house from those clips earlier. The reason for this? Well, it came out that he had been having a long-term workplace affair with the Try Guys producer and production manager for productions like their documentary and their spin-off show Food Babies. Put a pin in that, we're gonna come back to it. After the firing, the remaining Try Guys, with an I, get it, because there were 3 of them left. It's a lame joke, other people have made it, but they made it to me first, so I get to claim it. Anyway, they made a video about the situation to their 8 million subscribers.
Multiple fans alerted us that they had seen Ned and an employee engaging in public romantic behavior. Ned confirmed the reports.
And thus began a 3-week process of engaging with employment lawyers, corporate lawyers, HR, PR, and more. We were acutely aware of just how contrary this was to the values of the company we've built and those of everyone who works here.
So on Friday, September 16th, the 3 of us signed written consent approving the removal of Ned as a manager and an employee.
So now that you're caught up with all of that and we've spent the last page of this script talking about the history of the Try Guys, throw it all away, because I am here to tell you that at the end of the day, this video is not about them, it's not about their drama. This Couch Time talk is all about the mainstream media and how they covered this entire situation. You see, in the aftermath of the team ousting Ned, the internet just blew up with coverage about this situation. Wall Street Journal, CNN, Vanity Fair, Cosmo, The Sun, and the coverage was fine for the most part. I mean, there was a surprisingly large amount of it, but it was, you know, it was okay. It was neutral, it stuck to the facts, the publicly made statements, things like that. But then, in a desperate bid for relevance, Saturday Night Live decided to enter the chat with a sketch that is so off the mark that it single-handedly wanted me to make this video.
Saturday Night Live. Why am I not surprised? Talk about a place that is desperately trying to find an audience again after they ostracized and basically just chased everyone away. I mean, go figure.
So the full story is that your friend had a side chick and you fired him?
Yes, and we hope he is somewhere on his back with a bullet in his brain and belly.
Whoa, okay, isn't that a bit extreme?
No. You have to remember, Laura, the side chick was the food baby.
In a fit of rage, I drafted a script up, but ultimately, I calmed down and let it pass. I mean, I was worried about SNL here. If I were to make a video about every single unfunny, out-of-touch sketch that they air, well, I'd have infinite content.
Yes, you would.
What a brilliant channel idea. Anyway, I let it go, and about a week passed, and everything was fine, until yet another article was published about this whole situation, this time from the New York Times, and again, it missed the entire point of the situation, using lines like this, quote right here, "The whole thing felt a bit like a hostage video." This is in reference to the 3 guys sitting on the couch, informing their audience about the steps that they took in removing Ned from the channel. As if there were people just off screen with rifles and high expectations. There sort of were. They were on the other side of a camera and miles of fiber optic cable. And the Try Guys found themselves in a position where, however shocked and betrayed their audience felt, their own livelihoods depended on appearing equally distressed. Appearing. It made this whole thing out to be just a glorified performance. Actions done only for show in order to appease an audience that somehow had them imprisoned. Heck, the whole thing ends with this incredible line. You can imagine Ned Fulmer watching the video, seeing his former friends solemnly tamping down the freshly laid dirt, all in an effort to mollify an audience of strangers, and realizing that however badly he may have messed up, he was finally free. Oh boy.
Wow.
Okay, so there is a lot to break down there. And
wow. Okay. NYT, what are you doing, man? Hey, look, I know that to get eyes on your paper, you kind of have to print against the grain a little bit. I mean, thank God they don't go to Kotaku levels, you know, where they say that, you know, Cyberpunk is, instead of talking about Cyberpunk and the game and, you know, the stuff about the game that's important, instead they're just like, Cyberpunk just clarifies the over-obsessiveness we have with Oriental stereotypes when it comes to Cyberpunk, when it comes to, like, futuristic Cyberpunk media. I'm just like, huh? Hey, what? Huh? And instead of, like, posting a review, they post that shit. Jesus. I mean, I've heard of missing the mark, but then there's just, like, completely, like, looking at where you're supposed to throw, doing a complete and total 180, and just hurling the ball in the other direction, and then being pissed off that you missed.
And all of it highlights mainstream media's mishandling of both online creators and, more importantly, workplace issues like the Me Too movement. So let's just start with the YouTube stuff, because that one is far less important. Now, I think it's no secret here on the channel that I'm not the biggest fan of traditional media coverage of our industry.
Yes.
I've talked about it on this channel, and this channel, and that channel, and this channel again. And is this probably why they don't write articles about us anymore? It's probably why they don't write articles about us anymore.
Maybe.
Anyway, just take a look at exactly how SNL decides to introduce what it is exactly that the Try Guys do to their audience.
What in the world is a Try Guy?
They're BuzzFeed pranksters who try stuff, like trying fingernail polish or weird haircuts. Hell, they're even tried eating bugs.
If you look across the wide array of YouTuber coverage, this one is always the favorite. Call any type of YouTuber prankster.
Yeah, that's another thing I've noticed. They love to just, like, put YouTubers in a box. They love to just, like, compartmentalize us and just say, oh, they're, you know, YouTube pranksters, or, yeah, and like, look, we, like, joke with each other on this on these couches and everything. We aren't pranksters. So if there's ever an article written about us and they call us, like, YouTube pranksters, or YouTube, what is it? YouTube drama. See, I consider us like a reaction/commentary channel, if I'm being perfectly honest. But yeah, this whole deal with the Try Guys, that's, it just shows you how out of touch traditional media is with YouTube. And honestly, I think they're pissed off about it, because it's just like, we have billions of dollars that we're dumping into this stuff, and no one's paying attention. Whose fault is it? It's these goddamn YouTubers. We got to do something about it. We need to be as defamatory as possible and make everyone think that they're stupid, and that if they watch it, they're stupid. It's like, what?
Jake Paul? Well, he's a prankster. PewDiePie, prankster. Former NASA engineer Mark Rober. Well, yeah, he's the glitter bomb prankster. Mr. Beast? Obviously, he's a prankster too. There is no world where what the Try Guys do would be described as a prank channel. But yet that word is a favorite of newspaper coverage because it evokes such a strong emotional response when you read about pranksters. Pranksters aren't people that you're meant to like. They're—
oh gosh. Yeah, the Sandpepper, Sofa, what? Oh my god. Wow. Wow.
They're not someone that you root for. The whole "it's just a prank bro" crowd is associated with low-effort content that monetizes people's suffering. Call someone a prankster, and immediately you're sidelining them in people's minds as someone who's mean-spirited, and you probably don't want to succeed. And of course, it's not just enough to just write them off as pranksters. You then have to highlight how much money they're making off of those pranks that make people mad.
And they're millionaires. Okay.
Oh, well, you readers and viewers at home, you work so hard at your job every day making pennies, but here are these pranksters on the internet making garbage content and getting rich off of it. Isn't that unfair? Doesn't that make you mad?
Yeah, the divisive narrative like that, like being super divisive, I don't like the Try Guys, but that right there is just proof positive that mainstream media organizations just hate YouTube. They hate them. They hate us. I mean, they hate us because we're basically doing a better job than they are. I mean, they're like, I know that there are commentary channels out there, and they talk mad shit about about YouTube. It's like, oh, I'll just go start a YouTube channel. That's freaking easy. It's like, it probably would be because you got a big audience now. Try starting at 0. Try starting with nothing. Try starting, and over the span of 8 years or 8+ years, you finally carve out a piece of the internet for yourself, and then the platform does its damnedest to try and take it away from you, which I don't know why that happens. But anyway.
The New York Times article actually takes a different approach that's even worse than this. Instead of calling them just mindless pranksters, the NYT describes the Try Guys' backgrounds like this. A group of friends becomes a cast of characters and strip mines lives and relationships for content. Woohoo! If that doesn't sound flattering, well, it isn't. The crux of the entire article is that, yeah, the Try Guys have people who watch them, but only because they basically sold their soul to the internet in exchange for their fame. Except, that couldn't be further from the truth. The content that's made them so popular is just classic fish-out-of-water reality TV. It's basically the online equivalent of Dirty Jobs or Wife Swap, where people are put into new, uncomfortable situations and then they have to learn to adapt, you know? And no, the irony that I just used Wife Swap here as an example in the situation doesn't escape me, but it's entirely true. Their formats, like Cooking Without a Recipe, I mean, it looks a whole lot like Chopped. Keith eats everything at a restaurant. Well, that's just the modern-day equivalent of the eating show Man vs. Food. And yeah, that one video that everyone keeps bringing up as an attempt to embarrass them and tear them down, the one where they do the unthinkable and try on women's underwear, well, that's been a trope of comedy in media forever.
Yes, it has been. As far back as the 70s. Oh god, Rob Lowe in a fucking brassiere. I don't need to see that.
There's an entire episode of the sitcom Friends that is named after that exact plot line.
You want to go? Yeah, that'd be great. Let me make sure I'm not doing anything Tuesday.
They are a media company with something like 20 employees, and they're producing reality TV content. Something that both of these news outlets should be familiar with, but either aren't or are disingenuously refusing to acknowledge in order to prop up a false narrative of digital creator bad.
Yeah, every time. Every single time. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how well you present yourself or anything like that. If you're on YouTube, if you're on any of these social media platforms, these places could literally like care less. And if you're doing better than them and are attracting more eyeballs than them, then they'll burn you down at any chance they can get.
Article then implies that not only are they milking their lives for content, but they're actively manipulating their young, impressionable, and emotionally needy audience. The Try Guys were always bad people. Ned was just the first one to let the mask slip. They conjured a non-toxic brand of masculinity until Fulmer flicked the lights on, exposing the fantasy. Its severe mood was, in part, a performance, meant to reassure a world historically anxious and distrustful audience that they had not been led astray for the last 8 years.
Oh god. This. Oh. I feel like I've had sandpaper raked over my eyes. Jesus. Like, just, like, this person needs to go back to writing friggin' Yelp articles. Just like, it was sublime. It was intense. It is a night I will never forget. But the parking was bad. 7 out of 10. It's like...
Obviously, these are both really bad looks and pretty intentionally meant to discredit not just the current situation, but the whole system that holds it up. YouTubers function by fundamentally lying to their audience, maybe because they're low-life pranksters or because they're just manipulative of kids. And remember, this is talking about the Try Guys. The Try Guys are like the Melba Toast of online content.
You ain't kidding. They are pretty, I'm not going to say bland, but they're safe. That's the word I'd use. They're safe.
And that is not meant to be offensive to the Try Guys or anything they produce. I love the stuff they produce. But if there is one thing that Melba Toast is known for, it is being not spicy. So what could the New York Times or Saturday Night Live have done? Well, outside of some very basic research and being open and honest with their audiences. For one, they could have connected with the fact that both of them are located in New York, and guess what? The Try Guys recently performed in New York, right down the street at the Great White Way, Broadway. Or they're New York Times best-selling authors. Who also is the New York Times? Oh wait, the paper that's publishing this article in the first place. Synergy, programmatic synergy, friendos. Or if none of that makes sense, just say that they got a Food Network show. Hey, you people, you don't watch the internet, but you do watch Food Network because everyone watches Food Network. These are guys on the Food Network. Done. You understand who they are. I'm just saying, if the goal was to bridge the gap in understanding between YouTube and the readership of a 170-year-old publication or a 40-plus-year-old comedy sketch show, they could have done it very easily. They just didn't because that was never the goal in the first place. So listen up, mainstream media. Come here. Get up right in my face, right here, because I'm gonna get real with you guys for a second. This is the hard truth. Playing ignorant with the stuff that's going on online is not the flex that you think it is. Whoa, isn't it funny that people care about these random dudes called the Try Guys who try things? No, it isn't funny. You guys get what on Saturday Night Live these days? What, like 3.5 million views an episode? And that's talking about TV numbers, which we all know is kind of like, they're not really that believable. Regardless, guess what? That random online Keith guy, he got just as many views from eating Panera. You are currently trading short-term jabs at the wackos on the internet for your long-term relevance. Or maybe you're only aware of online content to the extent that you can steal it.
It's a Charmin Bears parody where the dad is disapproving of the son who's going to college and doesn't want to do the family business of butt wiping anymore. He wants to dance instead. My video was a Charmin Bears parody where the dad is disapproving of the son who's going to college. He doesn't want to be a butt wiping bear anymore and he wants to dance instead.
That right there, that is Joel Haver. Amazing online channel, by the way. You know what, Joel? I have to disagree with you, though, because I watched the two videos side by side, and I don't think they're similar at all. For one thing, your video was actually funny. I'm gonna get raked over the coals for this one. I'm making no friends. Because here's the thing, I'm not even all that concerned about this one. Yeah, sure, I get really mad about how they reported and mishandled this entire situation around online creators, but also at this point I've come to expect it. That is just par for the course. We get no respect over here. The real, much bigger issue with all of this, and the true reason I had to sit down on this couch, was because both outlets horrendously mishandled the core issue that prompted Ned's removal in the first place.
I'm trying to understand why this story is such a scandal. Was this affair non-consensual?
No. Worse, he committed the heinous act of having a consensual kiss and not telling us, his friends.
The entire controversy that led up to this is framed simply as Ned Fulmer sharing a consensual kiss and not telling his BFFs about it. And let me be real clear about this, because no media outlet seems to grasp this concept. The Try Guys are not some group of buddies. They are not just hanging out making some videos for the lulz on the weekend. They are a legal and financial set of business partners who own and operate a very successful, very popular media company. They have legal and fiduciary responsibilities to each other, and more importantly, to their employees, which in plain English, for all of you mainstream media writers who this is just going over the heads of, means that they are obligated to put the good of the group and the company ahead of individuals. Not just because of morals, but because in a business with multiple owners, you have a legal requirement. Plenty of people have affairs. Plenty of people have open marriages. Frankly, we don't know the details of that relationship, and guess what? Who cares? We don't need to know. Saturday Night Live, though, makes it sound like severing ties with Ned was this act of vengeance from jilted friends.
We had no choice, and we hope he is somewhere on his back with a bullet in his brain and belly.
But the truth is that workplace romances aren't the meet cute of The Office circa 2004. As a business owner, a secret boss dates employee relationship is inappropriate in its power dynamics. But beyond that, if you don't even want to get that far, it presents massive legal liability to everyone working inside that building. And if you're an owner who knows about it and chooses not to do anything about it, guess what? You're liable too. If that relationship ends badly, it is a wrongful termination lawsuit at best and a sexual misconduct lawsuit at worst. Now, you don't need to know the details of those two things, but the point is, either one can easily bankrupt the company and put dozens of innocent employees out of a job. So instead, as a responsible business owner, you just cut your losses and you put that one employee, that one offending employee, Ned, out of a job. It's math, not intrigue. It's ethical and it's good business. The Saturday Night Live skit, though, not only tries to awkwardly diminish this relationship as a kiss between co-workers, as opposed to what it really was, a long-term relationship between boss and employee, it then goes on to do what I am most offended by, to frame Eugene, Zach, and Keith as angry, betrayed friends, as opposed to what they really were, angry, betrayed business owners trying to do the right thing. The New York Times article actually takes it further than that, saying that the Try Guys have to be so miserable, they have to continue lying to their fans and maintaining this facade, but Ned, he must be happy that he escaped. He got to drop the mask and he survives to live on another day. And you see, that is the wild thing that I just can't wrap my head around with all of this coverage. You know who received no blame in either of these examples? Ned Fulmer. In both of these pieces, it's the remaining 3 guys that are left on the couch that look like they're in the wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of weird when you don't, like, call out the person for the illicit act. And I've never been in a business situation where I've been higher up in a company or anything like that, and I've dated someone under me in my employment. I think the coworkers and I'm sorry, I'm having to monitor these kittens that my mom's cat just gave birth to. Yeah, there's 2 of them, and I'm trying to make sure that they're moving and everything. But yeah, sorry. The two big things that I take away from this are the fact that, you know, if I were ever involved in a relationship like that, I would make it known, you know, I would make it, especially if I'm not involved in another relationship, I would make it known to everyone around me, and I would basically pursue the relationship I would pursue it in a professional manner, and I would make it to where again, this is where I've never been in a relationship like this, and I've never been in a relationship like that where I've been the boss and an employee's been under me. I would say the biggest thing with me is, like, if it's a consensual relationship between 2 people, I could care less. But yeah, overall, they talk about power dynamics and everything like that, and I would say that if they thought it was wrong, then okay, I guess. I don't know. They would know better than me. They're in a much better position than me. But I will say this: there was one lone controversy we've had in the past in terms of, like, relationships and stuff like that. There was someone who was on the channel with us in a very limited capacity. You know, they were only with us a couple of videos. And there was another person who had been on the channel with us a lot longer. Now, they were in no position of power or anything like that. They made no calls in terms of how... They aren't even an employee. They're just, like, they just come and hang out and they record videos with us. Well, these 2 people started hanging out and pursued a relationship. And not only did they pursue a relationship, but they pursued a relationship under false pretenses with another one of the regular like people on the channel, and they used the pursuit of that relationship as a way to hide, like, oh, I act like I'm coming over here, you know, because I'm acting like I'm interested in you, but I'm actually wanting to get my fuck on with this person over here. And I remember when this happened, and then the confession happened later on, that me and the other person both just looked at him and just like, dude, we could care less. It's just, don't lie to us about shit like this, because this could be something very bad if we're not made aware of this thing, and We don't care, like, if you're in relationships or like that. It's like, as Nick has said in the past, don't care who you bang. Just make sure it's consensual and make sure that everything's good. But we talked to him about that. That person, the newer person, stopped coming around, and the other person is still with the channel to this day. I'm not going to get into who it is, but it was a whole thing, and yeah, I hate the fact that it nearly resulted in a friendship being severed, but I'm glad that we've all moved on and we've all matured as people, and yeah, just again, where I've never been in a dynamic like this, I wouldn't know the first thing about some being involved in something like this. Anyway.
The overdramatic divas mad and ousting their friend out of pettiness. No mention of legally endangering the company. No references to making your co-founders implicit accomplices. No talk about predatory behavior in the workplace or how the entertainment industry has this massive problem with sexual misconduct. No mention about how Ned built his professional brand all about being a loyal family man and undercut that brand in a way that jeopardized the livelihood of literally everyone in the business around him. I mean, all of those would be very valid and important takeaways from the situation. Why not mention any of that? Why would you try to vilify the people sitting on the couch trying to do the right thing? Well, it's because if outlets like SNL decided to talk about that, it might draw attention to the fact that Saturday Night Live's been accused of having a bit of a sexist culture against women throughout the 90s and 2000s. Not much of a joke when it's about you, SNL? For instance, one woman allegedly was summoned to a producer's office and shown inappropriate pictures of him. Other interns have allegedly been brought to after parties where, you know, you could just use your imagination what's going on over there. These are serious accusations, and this is literally just the tip of the iceberg. In some cases, lawsuits have also added in SNL creator Lorne Michaels and former cast members like Tracy Jordan and Jimmy Fallon into the mix, alleging that they were aware of this misconduct and enabled it in one way or another. Saturday Night Live has had these issues for decades and has never once had its owners or creators made public addresses to the audience to take some sort of accountability. Instead, you get sketches like this.
You can have sex with women at work without losing your job by following a few simple rules. Be handsome, be attractive, and don't be unattractive.
Talk about things that haven't aged too well. It's no wonder they're making fun of the guys on the couch here, because if they didn't, they'd have to acknowledge that their own history has a lot more scandal and a lot less integrity than a bunch of YouTube pranksters. And you see, that is the thing that has gotten me so frustrated about all this. That is the thing that's gotten me to sit on the couch to make this episode. Everyone keeps pointing to the video that the Try Guys made on the couch as if it was some sort of an overreaction, some sort of over-dramatization. It wasn't. If anything, that sort of thing should be the new norm. It represents a generation of media companies who are trying to do better, to be better, who aren't willing to sweep scandals under the rug. Business owners who stay transparent and take real, meaningful actions when someone steps out of the line, no matter how high in the company they might be. You shouldn't be making fun of Keith, Zach, and Eugene. You should be following their example. At the end of the day, this isn't some weird fluke in the news cycle or some weird children's obsession. This is the new generation of entertainment media companies putting their money where their mouth is, who are able to swallow their pride, own up to their mistakes or their employees' mistakes, and then sit on the couch for some serious conversations when they have to. And from this couch, gotta say, that seems like we're moving in the right direction. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
So yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, I can't speak on things that I'm not aware of, but I can say that the biggest takeaway from if it's an improper relationship or anything like that, in the power dichotomy or anything like that, I don't know. There's stuff that I would say is when it's between two consenting adults and there's no legal ramifications involved or anything like that. I mean, I don't know. Again, I've never been in a situation like that, and I can't really speak on it. But I can respect the fact that the Try Guys got in front of it. They didn't shy away, and they, and I would rather have transparency than just a wall of silence, especially if it's something that they find truly malicious and is going to be a big shakeup for the whole thing, or for the whole ordeal. So anyway, yeah, this video was a long one, but I'm glad that I was able to watch it, and I'm glad I was able to see the points that MatPat was making with all this. And he's right about terrestrial media. Old school media hates YouTube for the most part, and they want to do everything they can to take a jab at it, just like a pop right in the nose. But I would say the whole thing with relationships at work, where I'm not in a situation like that, I've never been in a situation like that. If I found out that that was happening and that there was an employee that was abusing their ability, their position and everything, and they were if they're participating in a consensual relationship and it's not against the rules, with just someone at random, that'd be one thing. And I would say if it's a fan, that'd be weird. There's so many things to pull through in terms of context and layers of stuff, and I can't really speak on it. I mean, I feel like I'm a bit out of sorts on that. But anyway, I think that is going to do it, everybody. This was Film Theory. They missed the point, the Try Guys drama. If you enjoyed what you saw here and you want to see more from MatPat and the Film Theory crew, feel free to click their name in the title of the video. And I guess until next time, signing off, I'm Nate. I will see you then. Peace.